Okay, this is part 5-7. There is a printing error on your notes. It's from page 60 on your book, and we're going to approach this problem. Okay, this view is the section front view of the part. Okay, and this is the bottom view. So this is a third angle projection. So when you're looking at the bottom, you will see this feature here is actually the rib. Okay. Now, when I approach this problem, before you even start SolidWorks, you need to spend some time to study the drawing. When you study the drawing, what are you actually looking out for? You're trying to look out for where where will your datum planes be? How do you intend to start? Okay, you can actually start uh, on different features at a time, but wherever you start at, the datum planes should more or less be the same. All right. So how would you choose the datum plane? Simply you do it by observing how the dimensions are being done. As you can see over here, you will realize that a lot of dimensions are dimensioned with respect from this line here. Okay, so from this line to the top surface is 20, from this line to the bottom is 72. Okay, and you'll also notice that a lot of dimensions are dimensions from the axis of this hole, this circle. So naturally, I would want to use my top plane as the datum for this surface. I'll sketch my top plane and I'll extrude down to create this part. And for another plane, or yeah, my top plane will be on this flat edge, okay, on this flat plane, and my x and y, right, will be from this circle. So I'll put this center of the circle as my x and y. Now when I approach this problem, how I would like to do it is that I will draw the component on the left side first, followed by the right side. Okay, and then last, I will go on to do the rib. Now, without further ado, heading on to the SolidWorks environment. Like mentioned before, I will draw on the top plane first. And on the top plane, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the profile out. Okay, the profile out first. What profile am I talking about? I'm talking about this profile where my mouse is moving over. Okay, I will not be bothered about drawing the detailed features of the boss because that will be created on later. Right, so I'll be creating this, and what I'll do is I will draw an estimate line, and there's a straight line, then it comes down, there's a straight line across, and I draw a line that comes out here. Now I know that this line, I press the control button and I select the arc, the circle, and these two are tangent. Okay, next I accept it, then I select this, control, select the line, and then I make them tangent as well. Okay, now I'll start to add my dimensions. This dimension is the diameter of this is R20, so the diameter is 40, right? And I'll trim away the entities. Now, what I'll do is also, I know these two lines are aligned vertically, so I'll select this and this point, and then I'll align them vertically. Okay. I know that the center of this line lines up to the center of the circle, so I will move them horizontally. So then my profile, my sketch profile is more or less symmetrical because this is a line. The center of this line is horizontal. Okay, it's not horizontal, sorry. The center of this line, the dot, and this dot are lying on a horizontal plane. So that's why they are horizontal. Okay, now this is where I add my dimensions, and I have to be careful how I add my dimensions, right? The whole entire length is 64, so I'll put here 64, and that can be seen on the drawing. Okay, whereabouts in the drawing? Here, 64. Okay, and I know that the center of this circle to the back edge is 42, and I also know the center of the circle to the hidden line here is 32. So there's 32 and 42. So what I'll do is whenever I draw, I will draw and ensure that sorry I'll draw and ensure that the drawing is dimension the sketch dimension matches the drawing. Okay, sorry, let me control Z, made a mess here. Add the dimension, the center of the circle to the outer edge, and this one here is 42. Okay, and there it is fully constrained. What I'll do now is I will trim this. Okay, now I'm going to rotate this, and this is the top plane that I'm drawing on, right? And I'm going to extrude it to create one full solid body. Right, I'm going to extrude it to create one full solid body, and the plane that I drew was the top plane. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude in one direction by 20 millimeters, and I'm going to extrude in the other direction by 70 millimeters, so it matches the design intent of the drawing. Now, the reason why I do that is because the client or maybe your customer could come back to you and say, hey, I have an update on the drawing. This is no longer 70 millimeters, this is 100 millimeters. And that way it's easier to update your solid model simply by changing the dimensions, because it matches your modeling dimensions matches the design intent of the 2D. Okay, if you dimension it the other way around, then you would modifications to the drawing would be a lot more complex. A lot more math needs to go into it, and some features may be related and not related. You may have to decouple them, and if it's really complicated, you may end up being so frustrated that you will redraw the whole thing again. So that's a waste of time, right? So we'll try to avoid that. So I'm going to extrude in both directions. In this direction, I'm going to extrude by 20 millimeters. Enter. And the second direction, I can move my mouse over here and I can choose the second direction, and I can extrude in both directions at different dimensions. Okay, so this one is 70 millimeters. Now once this is done, I'll click OK, and I have my I have my part drawn out. Right. Next, what I'll do is I will sketch and create the boss. Right, sketch and create the boss. That's on the top plane, and the diameter of the boss is diameter. It's like a little protrusion, right? The diameter of it is diameter 32. So I'll write there 32. Enter. And the height at which it is being extruded up, the height at which it's being extruded up is 4 millimeters in height. Okay, and then there's a little radius. So that is something that I have to take note of. Okay, so it's a bit hang now. Yes, so I'm going to extrude by 4 millimeters. So I type 4, enter. Extrude by 4 millimeters, and then I'm going to add a fillet. Okay, a fillet radius of which edge do I fillet? I'll fillet the corner here, and the fillet radius is 4 millimeters. Okay, so once I have that, I'll have this fillet radius. Right. Now what I'll do next is I will mirror the part. Right, I'll mirror the part, and I'll mirror the part, but I don't have any plane to select from that's in the center of these two parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a work plane in the center of these two parts. And one of the ways to create the work plane is to click on the reference geometry, select plane, and choose two surface that are that. Then what SolidWorks will do is they'll take the distance between the two surfaces, divide it by 2, and create the mid plane for you. Okay, so it's one surface is here, and I rotate it and I create the second surface. Okay, then I click accept, and this surface, right, this plane 1 is the mid plane, right? So I'm going to check and make sure that it is 45 millimeters to the top edge. Okay, They don't have that. Wait, they only gave me the area. Let me try that again. From the top edge to this work plane, the distance is 45 millimeters. Okay. So this plane, mid plane, is the plane at which I do my mirror. Okay. Next, I'll go over to the features and I will choose the mirror command. In the mirror command, they'll ask you for the mirror face or the mirror plane, and this will be it. The features to mirror will be this boss, but what I can do is I'll select it from the model tree. I click on this black triangle to expand it out, and this is the boss that I'm going to mirror, and this is the fillet radius I'm going to create. Okay. Now, if you click the green tick, right, you may get this rebuild error, and how to get past this rebuild error is that you need to check the geometry pattern, right? Usually what happens is that SolidWorks sometimes have got issues trying to mirror fillet and chamfer features over. So um, they, by clicking on this geometry pattern, it more or less solves the issue and you have it created. Okay, I'm going to hide the mid plane. I don't need it for now, so I'm going to hide it. I'm not going to delete it. The next thing that I will create is the hole that runs through the center. Okay, and the diameter of the hole is diameter 12. Okay, it's diameter 12. And I'm going to cut it out throughout. So features and extrude cut, and it's going to be through all. Okay, through all. Then once that's okay. Now when this is done, this is not quite done yet. We have to do the cutout in the center. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select the the front plane, okay, as my sketch plane. And what I'll do is that I'll draw a simple rectangle, and I'll be true to the 2D drawing intent, and I will dimension this triangle accordingly. Okay, so what happens is that if you look at your 2D drawing, right, the top edge of that rectangle is reference to the top surface of the part, and that is 12 millimeters. Okay, the thickness of the cutout is 66 millimeters. Right. Then from the center of the circle, okay, to the edge here, it's 32 millimeters. So I can put this to this point, and this is 32 millimeters. And I have a rectangle cut out. Okay, I didn't dimension this length simply because as long as this length exceeds the part, it will be able to do the cut profile. So exceed cut, and I'll cut both ways through all on both sides. Okay, I'll click OK. Right, and then that's it. It's done. The features on the left hand side are more or less done. The next thing I'll do is I will create a sketch on the top plane again. Okay, sketch on the top plane. And my intention now is to draw this feature without the holes and without the ear features. So the profile will look like this. Right, a line that's tangent to a circle that is diameter 48. Okay, and then draw another line that crosses back here, close the loop. And the distance of this diameter 48 is 165 to the origin, which is here. Okay, so you can see how important it is that before you start drawing, don't rush into it. It's important to read the drawing, understand, and then determine where your x0 and y0 is going to be. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the circle that is here, and I'm going to align it. Right, very important. I'm going to align it so that the center and this center is horizontal. Okay, it's not picking up the points. Let me try that again. Control. I was pressing function. Control, and it is horizontal. Okay, And the next thing that I will make sure is the dimension of the circle. The dimension of the circle is diameter 48. Okay, diameter 48. So I'll put here 48. And then the distance, okay, from the center of the small circle is 165. All right, 165. And what happens is next I will draw a line, right, starting from there. And this line is tangent to this circle. But what I'm going to do is that if you were to click, you will end up in the center of the circle, right, center of the circle, and this is not right. Okay, so how do we overcome this? We go over when we are in our sketch tools, line properties. Sorry, we're in my sketch tools, rapid sketch, instant 3D, quick snaps. Okay, we go to our quick snaps and we select our tangent snap. Okay, and what we do is automatically the line will be snapped to the tangent of the circle. Okay, tangent of the circle. Then we draw the second line at the corner here. Alright, and we and we make sure that it is snapped as well again. This is repair. This is the quick snap to the tangent of the circle. Where is my tangent? Snap point, grid point. The point is missing. Oh, because the line is not drawn yet. I think it went escape. So here, this line, and then I need to select tangent snap, and the tangent point is somewhere here. Okay, right. When this is done, you would think that, oh, it's really done, I can extrude it now, but no, because what happens is that the loop is not closed. You need to draw a line that closes the loop. So I draw the line closes from the top to the bottom so that the loop is closed. Okay, that the loop is closed. Once the loop is closed, I can trim my entity, which is this over here, and the whole thing is shaded. I'll be extruding it to a distance or a thickness, right? And the thickness for this, because I drew this on this plane, I'm extruding it down. The thickness of this plane is 12 millimeters. Okay, it's 12 millimeters. So I'm going over here and I'll extrude by 12. Okay, and I have to be careful of the extrude direction. Right, this is the wrong direction, so I need to flip it the other way around. Let's extrude to 12 millimeters. Okay, and the next thing is I'm going to sketch. I'm going to create the boss that protrudes down over here. Easier to draw in the 2D environment. So I move my I create the circle. Whoops. Click on the circle icon to draw the circle. Move my mouse to the circumference of the circle here. Then I can snap to the center, right? Oops, it's not to the center. Let me do that again. Right, to the center. And I need to make sure that my diameter is dimension. Okay. Now once it turns black means that the sketch is fully constrained. And what I can do is I can extrude the other direction. Extrude by 50 millimeters. Okay. Now once I'm done with this side of the feature, right, once I'm done with this side of the feature, which is 50 millimeters, I'm going to tackle the ear. Okay. After I tackle the ear and draw the hole, I'll create this cylindrical surface. Then I will create the rib. And last but not least, I'll go around and add all the missing radiuses that are required for this part. Okay, so that's my workflow. Okay, I'm going to still continue sketching, and I'll be sketching from my I think it's my front plane. And the little ear here, right, would have a dimension of R12. So the diameter is 24. Okay, R12, so the dimension is 24. It's a lot smaller. And the center of this circle would be to the center of this circle. But however, there is nothing that I can snap to. I can't snap to here because this is the tangent line on the circle, and it is not the true center of the circle. It's actually at one point of the circumference. So what happens is that I need to create something like an axis, okay, that runs through here. Okay, so what happens is I'm going to just exit from the sketch for a while, and I'm going to go to my features, and I will create an axis from the reference geometry. I'll create an axis, and what we need to do is just select any cylindrical surface, and an axis will be created. Okay, once this axis is created, it will be a lot more easier to do my sketch. Right click on the sketch, edit sketch, and then I can dimension it to the axis. Okay, and this distance here is 35 millimeters, right? 35 millimeters. Okay, this circle is dimensioned from the center of the circle is dimensioned to the top surface of the boss. So I make sure that I get the design intent correct, and the distance is 25 millimeters. Then what I do next is I draw a line. Because this is a straight line, so I'll go in, come down. I make use of the tracking so that I need not enter my dimensions, and I know that it is perpendicular, and then it is also tangent to the circle. Okay, because it's a straight line, it will stop, or it will end at the circle at the 180 degree, or the 6 o'clock mark and the 12 o'clock mark. Right. Once I have this, I'll trim the inner side of the circle, and next I can comfortably extrude, and I will extrude mid plane so that it extrudes at both sides, mid plane, and the distance at which it extrudes is 20 millimeters. Okay, distance at which it extrudes is 20 millimeters. Once that's done, it's fused and everything is okay. I'm going to just hide the axis, right? What I'm going to do next is I'm going to create the hole that runs through. Move my mouse to the circumference, find the center of the circle, and the dimension for this circle is diameter 12. So diameter 12, so I can write here 12 millimeters. Feature extrude cut, and I'll cut through all. Okay. Next, I will create the hole on the top surface. Okay. Create sketch, select this surface, and I'm ready to draw the hole. So I move my mouse over so that the center is found. The hole is coaxial to the outer diameter, and then what happens is I add in the dimensions, and the dimension for this hole is diameter 24. And I will extrude cut the entire thing, extrude cut through all in this direction. Okay, so it's correct. Then I'll click OK. Alright. Now once this feature is done, one step away from this so far, I'll complete it totally. What I'll do is I will create the slot. The slot that's here. Okay, and the slot is a 4 mm width slot, and it's centralized to the center axis. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, a simple rectangle, and I'm going to dimension it accordingly. Right? Created a sketch on the X-plane, and I drew a rectangle. And I'll just make it a little bit big and lopsided at first so that I can use it to select the midpoint. Press Ctrl and select the midpoint of the origin. Then I'll say that this is horizontal. Okay, and with this I will dimension the width to be 4 millimeters. Right, 4 millimeters. Let me double check. Yes, it is a 4 millimeter width slot. And our extrude cut. Oh, I think I did a cut revolve. What I meant to do is I meant to do this extrude cut, and it is true all. I'll say okay. Right. So this is the part on the right hand side, and that's done. The next thing I'm going to draw is the rib. Okay, and the rib could get a little tricky, right, because of all the peculiar little features that SolidWorks have. I'll put on the start, and I will start my sketch on the front plane. With the sketch on the front plane, the first thing I'll do is I will convert entities, and I'll convert some of the entities to a line so that I can make reference to my drawing. Okay, so there's a line here that I made reference to. Did I draw the line? Let me do a quick check. That line is not there yet. Okay, let me do convert entities, move over, and I create this line. Okay, it's a silhouette, and I created it. So once it's created, there's a black line that's created, and then I'm going to draw the radius, the center that appears. The diameter of the first arc is 120 mm radius. Okay, not radius, diameter. The radius is 60, right? And what I'm going to do is you can see that it is moving around. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to constrain it. So I select this dot, press Ctrl, select the line that I created earlier, and then I make sure that they are center. Oh, sorry, let me try that again. Center of this circle, Control, and this line that I projected earlier, and it should be coincident. Okay, so what will happen now is that this circle can be moved from can be moved up and down, but I can't move it left and right. Okay, because it is constrained. Then what I do is uh, next is I know that the circumference of this circle is also tangent to this line, to this dot. So I put coincident. And that's how I get my first R60. I draw a line here that touches this dot, and it is somewhat fixed. And I dimension this according to the drawing, right? It will be to the base of the top feature, and it is 18 millimeters apart. 18, sorry, I typed wrongly, 18 millimeters apart. And the next thing that I'll draw is the R20. Sorry, is it R20? R120. No. The radius, sorry, the radius is 60, the diameter is 120. Okay? So I'm going to draw a circle, and the dimension here is 120. Okay, now what will happen is at this point of time I'll select this, control, select the outer circle and ensure that they are tangent. Okay, then I accept it. I'll select this line and I'll select this line here, and I'll make sure that they are tangent as well. Okay, once they are tangent, you can see that the rib is more or less done. I didn't bother to put the radius here. I will create the radius later on. So now what I'll do is I'll trim away my entities. I don't need them anymore. Okay, now select this and I'll delete this away. And what will happen now is that you're ready to create the rib, right? Features and creation of rib. And what will happen is that you'll notice that they are able to create the rib. It's got two yellow lines running through, and the center line is in blue. Okay, and I should have no worries. But at this point in time, if you were to look at the rib, the arrow, the arrow is pointing outside. You need to flip the arrows, right, so that the computer knows where to add the material to. Okay, if not, they will add the material in the opposite side, or they will register a rebuild failure. So once this is done, you click OK, and your rib would have been done. Okay, so I created my rib. My rib is okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the radius 6 to every feature that requires it. So the first feature that I think requires it the most is this side. Alright, R6 on both sides. Here, one. And one here. Okay, so there are the radius on the there's radius on the ear, and then there is a radius here at the corner, and this side. You have to be careful not to click the whole face. If not, there will be certain corners that will be radius, and it is not according to your intent. Okay, let me redo it. The radius here is 6. There's a radius here at 6. There is an unspecified radius here at the corner. Radius at this corner. Radius at both corners. Here. Okay. And I have radius on the 4 underneath, the 4 side, so it spreads out. Okay. And I'm looking for the R6. Are there any R6? Yes, there is. So on this side here, R6. I selected the face, and then that gives me a problem. So you need to make sure that you select the edge. Okay. Right. Now, once I select the edge for all this, I can accept it. And these are all the radius for that is unspecified. I missed out the top one. edit feature. This top here is fillet as well, so I missed that out. And I also missed the radius at the rib, which is here. Okay, then I click accept, and this is it. My fillet is done. There is another fillet of a smaller value, R3, and that appears on the side of the ears. So I'm going to go here, and the radius is 3, and the edges are here and here. Okay, that's R3. And it's always good that you check all your drawing before closing them. Check it, and every 5 or 10 minutes please save your file. Okay, save your file. This is part 5 underscore 7. Already exists. Okay, so I click here, I save it. Right, plug file, save, Control S. And this command allows you to exercise your rib command. Allows you to exercise how and where you place your views. Okay, so this is a very important command that you need to learn and be ready for it. Okay, with this I end my recording. Right, let's see, it's here. With this I end my recording, and I will stop.